This is instructions not included. How to navigate networking and job searching for media students. Here's your host, Colin Bradbury.
Hello again. Thank you for lending me your ears, headphones, and Bluetooth speakers. On today's episode, I'm talking to Xana Mills. She is a recent graduate from my digital communications program, and I'm talking to her about her current experiences with the job market and the industry. How did she find her way into the role that she's in now, and what we can do to possibly also see success? We'll talk about soft skills. Are you tired of me talking about soft skills yet? Well, too bad, because they're important. When you don't have any work experience yet, you need them to show the hiring manager that you've got what it takes. We'll talk about entry-level roles. What do they look like, and how can you use them to put your best foot forward and possibly parlay that into further work? And then we talk about the dreaded you need experience to get experience cycle. What can you do if you don't have experience? How you can try and find other ways to show off your skills. So here's my conversation with Xana Mills. Enjoy. Hi, well, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you taking the time.
My pleasure.
All right, so do you just want to start out by telling me what your experience was with the digital communications program? What did you think you were going to do when you started, and was that the same thing when you finished?
That's a great question. When I started DCOM, I didn't know what I wanted to do before I started the program. I was in hospitality. I was a bartender server. I was 24. And I just thought I want to do something creative. At the same time, I want to do something that's relevant to society right now. So, going to art school might be great. Sure, I might get a job. But if I have tangible skills in media, social media, the internet, and how that dynamic plays into the world as it is, that would be more beneficial to me finding work after I graduate. That's why I went into DCOM, but I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do with that. I just wanted to sort of give it a shot and see where it would take me, which is exactly what happened. When I was in DCOM, I liked so many different aspects of it that I was worried I wouldn't know which field to get into. But luckily, there are so many jobs that require you to be doing a bunch of those different skills. Coding, for example, I thought I would never have to use it, but I'm still putting code onto websites every once in a while when someone else can't figure it out. I've still got that. Or photography, like I mentioned, advertising. Third and fourth year, I took a lot of PR electives because I was very interested in PR. And while I didn't specialize in PR at Humber, I actually ended up working very briefly at a PR agency. So a lot of those skills came in handy.
Yeah, that's kind of a common theme. I mean, obviously, there's the people that I talk to in my program that they know exactly what they want to do, and well, that's great for them. But a kind of common theme is that you're just taking everything in and seeing where it's going to spit you out. Keep an open mind and see what's out there for you.
Yeah. The thing about after graduation, too, when I was in school, I was so worried. I'm like, what if I don't pick the right career path? I've had 3 different jobs since I've graduated, about to start my 4th job because there's been some overlap. I've been graduated for 3 years and I still don't really know what I want to do. I just know what I like and what I don't like. And I think that's sort of the beauty of having the wider skill set, sort of being like a jack of all trades coming out of DCOM, is I might not be the best person to do that one specific skill, but I have all of these other skills to complement it. So even after graduation, I still don't really know what I want to do, but it's let me narrow it down to find things that I like.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just because you start out doing one thing doesn't mean you have to do that for the rest of your life. It's like with me, I first went to school for radio broadcasting, and now I've taken a slight turn and I'm doing this now. It's all just see what happens as you go along.
Yeah, and that's life, and that's cool. But I know, like, being a graduating student, there's a lot of pressure to be like, oh, this first job is going to sort of set the path for me, but that is absolutely not true. And you can switch at any time.
So previously, I've talked about soft skills being really attractive to a recruiter or hiring manager when you don't have the actual work experience yet. What kind of soft skills do you think school and this program gave you that someone like me could kind of put on a resume?
I think there are certain things that you can't really teach, like being a resourceful person, being easy to work with. Those aren't really teachable things, but being a student allows you to sort of flex your soft skills, right? So group projects, it happens when you graduate and you're working on a team with someone and half of the team doesn't know how to do something, or you have to do it or it won't get done. Like, that happens a lot outside of college or university. And teamwork, just having a positive attitude about what you're working on. People enjoy being around people like that. And I think that's gotten me far. Keeping calm, cool, and collected. So many job postings right now are like, must be calm under pressure, which is true also in school, like hitting deadlines, meeting deadlines, figuring out a workaround. because there is some flexibility with getting things done. Like not everything in PR or media is an emergency, but some things need to happen very quickly. And there's a very short turnaround time. Like no one's going to die if you don't publish a social media post, but there are a lot of people expecting you to do that, right? So I think time management skills when you're in college, and if you come into a problem like, oh, I'm not going to get this assignment done on time, what can I do to sort of rearrange my ability to either get an extension or finish that on time?
Yeah, definitely. Going back to one of the points you made, people like being around nice people. So if you're enjoyable to be around, that's a huge plus.
For sure. Yeah. And just like being resourceful too. I don't know a lot of answers to questions sometimes. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not qualified for the job. But with a quick YouTube search or video and like an attempt to do it, I think is really, really valuable. Some people just don't know that you need to give it a shot or where to look. But Google is your best friend when you're in a role where you don't know how to do something. So
yeah, it's like when I'm being tech support for my parents, usually it's just me quickly going over and looking up how to do this or how to do this setting. So, and then I come across as the genius tech support. So
yeah.
There we go.
Exactly like that. Yeah, they totally could have done it themselves, but sometimes you just don't know how to do that. And that's a good skill to have.
So after finishing school, what was your job searching strategy like? Was there something that you found worked well? I know that you said that you graduated right into pandemic times, but was there anything that you found worked well for you?
Yes. So right out of school, I had my heart set on working for an agency. So what I was doing was I was looking at every single agency in Toronto that was hiring entry-level roles. So like communication coordinators, things like that, different types of agencies. But I was just throwing my resume at any job opening I possibly could. But there were two things that I did. I used my capstone project as part of my portfolio. So I created an e-commerce store for my project. And that was sort of like the best way to get across to job hunters, to the hiring managers, to be like, I'm fresh out of school, but this is what I just did. So take a look at that. And if you like that I did that, maybe we can continue the conversation. And I ended up with about 4 job interviews within 2 months. I took about a month off before I started applying places. And then I got about 4 interviews that got me 2 offers. And then I decided to work for an agency.
Yeah, so that kind of leads right into my next question about there's the whole you need experience to get experience cycle and about how you'd break out of that. But I think we already kind of touched on that by using the capstone project that I'm doing right now as kind of something to show the recruiter or hiring manager before, like with the soft skills. I found that trying to break that need experience to get experience cycle has been kind of tough.
Yeah, it is hard, but there are also things you can do. While I was in school, I worked very, very part-time for a woman as her assistant. So I'd help with her social media posts. I'd help update things on her website. And I think she was paying me $14 an hour at the time for like 5 hours a week. But it was something that I could be like, here's something that I did while I was cool. This is the internship I did, and this is my capstone. So there was a little bit of foresight that I had to get some experience while I was in school. And I think that's a really good opportunity for e-commerce right now, because there's so many small businesses that need help with social media. And while I don't think people should work for free, there is some sort of like give and take when you're just starting out in your career while you're also in school that you can maybe do from home. But yeah, I'd recommend it to anyone that has the opportunity, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that brought me towards this industry as a whole, because like you said, any kind of business, big or small, needs to do communications work at some point. So whether it's a small social media presence and an online store or a website or anything. So that's kind of what really gives me optimism as I'm heading towards graduation, heading towards hitting the open job market, is that so many places need to do communications work at some point. I'm hoping that I can find a fit somewhere.
Yeah, I'm noticing too, a lot of people are putting their services out there on the internet. Hey, I'm a fresh grad. Hey, I don't have a lot of experience, but maybe we can do some sort of trade-off where I do X, Y, and Z for you and you save X amount of money or whatever it is. And then that also works for like taking initiative for yourself, right? So while you're applying to jobs, you can be like, this is how I got the experience. And then I made myself a portfolio from this. And now I have all of these references who will say that I am good and can get work done for you. So yeah, You need experience to get experience, but also you can get yourself experience before getting experience.
Yeah, that's kind of the next hidden line is that you can create your own experience.
Yeah, exactly. I think even too, if someone's really into, say, graphic design or editing films, like you can create your own projects. You can make up brands, or you can do mock proposals for brands that already exist. It's sort of like you can do it for yourself. You don't need someone telling you to do it to have it be part of your portfolio or your experience. You could be a freelance designer and make up these companies in sort of a fake it till you make it way, but you're actually getting experience while you're doing it because you learn the process and what it's like creating a deck for someone.
Yeah, any experience, something to put on, not necessarily the work experience section on LinkedIn, but the other projects and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So from my experience right now, entry-level roles seem to be kind of almost a myth now, what with the job market and companies wanting 3 to 5 years experience for the entry-level roles. What types of entry-level roles would you recommend to a new grad? Like what kind of jobs do you think would be able to get you into the ground floor of a company?
Yeah, internships at marketing companies, paid internships at marketing companies. And to give you a bit of an idea of what I've seen post-graduation, so I worked at an agency for just under a year. It was sort of a digital PR blend. We had internships come in that just got promoted after their internship was over. So they'd work for 6 months, internship, minimum wage. And then after that ended, they just became a part of the team. Same thing with my current role. We hired an internship to join our marketing team because he said he was interested. And then 6 months later, when his internship was up, he just got the job. I think there's value in that. But also coordinator roles, part-time roles at different companies can help you get full-time hours if you prove yourself.
Yeah, because some job postings for internships say it's either returning to school in the fall or having just recently graduated within the past 6 months. That's something that I've had to kind of keep an eye on, that not to just dismiss them outright, but keep an eye out for these things, because I guess companies could see interns as being like a kind of risk-free trial of my services.
That's exactly what it is. But the benefit to being an intern too is you're normally put in a bunch of different positions. So there's an internship at my work right now, or he was an intern, now he's on the team. He did a little bit of everything. He would come with me for photography. He would help with the website. He would help with design. He would be, cutting paper menus or whatever the task was that nobody else wanted to do. And then he became a coordinator and was like, I like to do X, Y, and Z. I would like to stay on and do X, Y, and Z. And they kept him on because he proved himself. So I would just recommend not doing unpaid internships. When you're interviewing for these internships, say my goal is to stay in the company. Do you see that being an option for me? And if they say no, waste of time, get out of there. Don't do it. Just find someone because they do exist.
Yeah, that's one of those things when the interviewer asks, do you have any questions for me? That would be a good time to ask about that, because I know that from other people that I've spoken to, using that kind of question time as inquiring about growth at the company and other opportunities is a good sign to show that you're interested and you're willing to make a commitment with the companies.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're also interviewing the company to make sure it's a good fit for you. They're just also not interviewing you to make sure you're a good fit. Like it really goes both ways because you're spending your entire day working for these other people.
Yeah. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I'm glad to see that you found success after school.
Thank you so much for having me, Colin. Good luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that was my chat with Xana Mills. So let's go over. What new instructions did we learn today? We learned that I'm not going to stop talking about soft skills. But really, soft skills that you get from school can kind of fill the gap when you don't have actual job experience. The collaboration on group assignments, the time management, and organization. If a hiring manager is doing their job correctly, they know that entry-level jobs can't have 3 to 5 years experience. So when you're interviewing, use these soft skills to show them that you've got what it takes. When they're asking you situational questions, show off those soft skills. What did you learn in school that you could apply to the job? Be specific, tell stories. They're there to hear you. But then at the same time, in the interview, don't forget that you are also interviewing the company. Do you want to work there? Are there any red flags in the interview that's telling you you should avoid this company? Like, do they call themselves a family? And then we talked about how, as long as it's paid work, after school, you can also do another internship. It's a good way to get your foot in the door and use it as almost an audition on so that the company has kind of a test run on you, see if they like you. And then sometimes, if a company is hiring afterwards, they'll just keep you on. It does happen. That could be your way in. And that's it for today's episode and this season of Instructions Not Included. Thank you so much for joining me on this experience. I had lots of fun producing it, getting to tell my stories, and getting to hear from other people. So if you liked it, subscribe, rate 5 stars. I might do another season. After school, I'm gonna have some time on my hands, so I need something to do. But really, I hope you enjoyed and you got something out of it, and it can get you one step closer to the career that you're looking for. So thanks for listening, go live life, and take care.